Tyler, it's so great to have you here with us today to talk about your journey into game development and your role on Project Eureka. So, can you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you?
My name is Tyler Lynch. I'm a fifth year game design development student at RIT, and I'm a gameplay programmer at Project Eureka.
Fantastic. So, let's step back a little bit. And, Tyler, can you talk about your journey into game development? Right now, you're sitting in your family home in Delaware, and I wonder, can you talk about how your early years may have informed where you are today at Rochester Institute of Technology and as a member of the Project Eureka team?
I've been playing video games for as long as I can remember, at least since I was 3 years old. What made me want to get into game development was playing Minecraft with my friends. You know, um, building this community around Minecraft and meeting all these new people that I got to meet through the game. I realized that I wanted to make a similar experience and give people of newer generations in a space where they can make community and kind of all come together for a singular game.
That is very cool. And when we talk about today's games and there's so much about storytelling and so much about immersive worlds. And I think you mentioned earlier Destiny as being one of your inspirations.
Hmm.
Um, and certainly Minecraft resonates with me because I've got a 13-year-old son who loves Minecraft. So certainly, and community is such an important thing, right? Being able to um, really, in some sense, escape, our everyday lives and really, immerse ourselves in different worlds. So um, that's fantastic. Um, can you talk a little bit about your role on Project Eureka?
As mentioned, I'm a gameplay programmer. I worked on some of the modes on our main weapon and puzzle tool, as well as some other puzzle mechanics within the game.
Very cool. So, Tyler, can you talk about your personal goals in relation to Project Eureka?
In relation to Project Eureka, my personal goals were mostly to learn more about new about a new engine, learn more about development in C++, and also to have something that I can point to say, hey, I made that. That is something that I've made and shipped that I can show off to future employers.
Absolutely. And so, can you walk us through some of the decisions that you needed to make as you were going through your experience in developing this new game using the Open 3D engine? What were some of your experiences along the way?
Well, I've definitely learned a lot. It's interesting kind of to work on an engine like the Open 3D engine because currently, of course, something like Unity or Unreal has a much larger install base and lots of years of forum posts and Reddit posts and stuff for resources on how to do this thing, how to do that thing. So what this kind of made me do is that I needed to say, hey, all right, let's let's back up a little bit and let's talk to people first as opposed to Google, for example, for trying to find out what I need to do, expand my horizons, ask questions of people around me, that kind of thing.
Very cool. So, let's talk a little bit about being a part of the open source community.
Mhm.
Certainly, O3DE isn't the only open source engine out there, but it is one of them. What can you talk about your experiences in participating in the O3DE community?
Um, Currently, in terms of open source projects, O3D is the biggest one that I've worked with. Um, I've worked a little bit with Blender, but I haven't actually worked on like the actual programming side of Blender. Um, but it's very interesting because compared to something like Unity, if there's like an issue that we're having, we're not, we don't have to wait around for them to diagnose it and ship it out and get it through QA. We can fix that ourselves, and then we can actually kind of push that onto the community and give back to the community in that kind of way. So I think that open source is really interesting for that.
And it gives you a body of work, doesn't it, to
Hmm.
show to potential employers, and certainly your experience from Project Eureka does that, but also the way that you're participating in an open source community. Employers can, you can say, hey, actually go check out my code.
Hmm. Yep.
So can you talk about your your experiences in programming with C++ and what it was like within O3DE?
Um, I learned programming in C++ from classes, but this is my first time working on like a bigger project with it because usually we just work in Unity, which is of course C sharp. Um, Working on it in O3DE is incredibly interesting. The We're really big fans on the team of the eBus system, which allows you to reference things in a different way than you usually would with other applications and programming languages, and that has been a really really helpful tool and a really good tool to use throughout development.
Really cool. So we know that O3DE is in its early days, and it would be interesting to hear from you. What were some of the challenges that you encountered along the way?
Yeah, some of the challenges, of course, it's early. There are going to be bugs and issues, and the engine could still use a little bit of, how would you say, it's a little bit intimidating compared to some other engines. So that was definitely an issue. But once you get kind of into it and used to it and start to work with it within it, you can really understand how to work in it and how to get done what you need to get done.
Really cool. So let's flip that around a little bit. And can you talk about some of what you thought was most rewarding about working in the engine and within Project Eureka?
Definitely, I think that even just getting these features in that we wanted to is just incredibly rewarding, and being able to work with my amazing team who have interviews on this channel as well. Uh, just being able to come together and create the create the game that we wanted to make in this great engine was just incredibly rewarding in general.
So you mentioned that one of the most exciting parts was really publishing a game, right?
Mhm.
And your game will be the first commercial game published using the Open 3D engine. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit nerve wracking because you want to give a good impression of this engine to players and developers, to show them that, hey, this is an engine that's worth looking into, and that kind of thing. And especially since we're such a small team, it's a bit nerve wracking, but also incredibly exciting, I'd say.
Yeah, well, we are certainly excited about it. And I just want to thank you for all of your hard work and the hard work of all of your colleagues on the team for really working with the engine. We've learned a lot from you about, hey, what should be the priorities for development of the engine, looking forward, and really gleaning a lot from the Project Eureka team. So we also want to, I think it's been really reciprocal. It's been a great
Hmm.
mutually beneficial relationship here,
Yeah,
right? In
definitely.
terms of, yeah, what you're teaching us too. So fantastic.
Mhm.
So let's talk a little bit about you, Tyler, and your body of work in game development, and what insights we can glean from your overall experiences in game development. Can you share with us maybe three of the most significant things you've learned?
Uh, the most significant thing I've learned is don't be afraid to ask questions, even if the questions may seem stupid. You're gonna spend a lot of time kind of racking your brain around, oh, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? And if you get too caught up in your own head about it, uh, and too afraid to ask those questions, you're just gonna stay in the same spot you always were and aren't really gonna learn anything new from that. So I say always ask questions and be willing to do that. The next biggest thing I'd say is network. Definitely network, and that kind of goes back into the asking questions thing. Find out who you can talk to, who you can meet, whose brain you can pick, because they're always willing to. A lot of people are very much willing to answer questions and and speak with young developers. I'd say. And as for a third thing, just get started. If you just download O3DE or Unity or Unreal and just find something that you want to create, even something tiny, like for example, recreating like a mechanic in a game that you like I don't know, like the Leviathan axe from God of War, how that goes forward and then you can call it back. Just go and recreate that or something small that you might want to build upon as you go on.
Cool. So, as we look towards the future, what's next for you, Tyler? What are you most excited about?
Well, I'm most excited about, showing off my work and speaking to people within the industry and just trying to find a job and trying to find a place where I belong currently in the gaming industry.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. And I have every confidence that you will absolutely go on and do that. Um, so, a fun question: what is your favorite game?
Ooh, I have I've played so many games. It's even hard to pick, but I'd probably say that Destiny 2 has taken up the biggest chunk of my time and has definitely been one that I've made a lot of friends in and played a lot of. So I'll say Destiny 2.
Excellent. Tyler, thank you again for spending this time with us. It's been great to hear your insights, your perspectives, and we absolutely wish you the best in moving forward in your game development journey.
All right, thank you very much for having me.